noting that a quorum of the committee is present. Today is Thursday, January 13th, 2022, and we are going to call the Capital Improvements and Street Maintenance Committee for the City of Wausau to order. The first item on our agenda is presentation and discussion of the Director's Report, which is included in the packets. Eric, did you want to just give a little overview of your report?
Yeah, I, as in previous reports, I've tried to break it out for the different types of work that we're doing, from general operations to specific projects. So if any of the committee members have any specific questions or about what's on the report.
Okay, committee members, any questions on the report? And that report is in the packets that's available online for the public as well. Just some quick updates as far as our general operations. So if there's no questions, we can place that report on file. And the next item on our agenda is the consent agenda, which includes 4 items. Any items that anyone wants removed from consent? Lou, go ahead.
I would like to chat about item D.
Okay. So we will remove item D and leave on consent the approval of the minutes of the December 9th, 2021 meeting, action on an easement with Academic Enterprise, LLC for sanitary sewer and force main at 3400 McIntosh Street, 3455 Franklin Street, and 3800 McIntosh Street. Also on the consent then would be action on an easement with Academic Enterprise, LLC for sanitary sewer, force main, and water main at 3400 McIntosh and 3455 Franklin Street. So is there a motion to approve the consent agenda with those 3 items? Motion by Neal, is there a second? Second by Larson. Discussion? Seeing none. Members in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? None are opposed. So those 3 are approved. And now removed from consent, we'll take that item first. Action on a preliminary resolution to vacate and discontinue the alley lying north of 410 North 6th Avenue between Oak Street, Cedar Street, 6th Avenue, and 7th Avenue. And Alder Larson, you had a question on that
yes,
item?
Madam Chair.
Go ahead.
This is my understanding. This was the alley that Alder Watson brought forward, and she wanted this as a one-way at first, and it was kind of supposed to be up for discussion at this meeting because she didn't have all the things put together. And now I see it's they want to vacate it or close it off, and which I think is a lot better. I think it's 100%. By having it the one way, I thought was not going to solve the problem. But my curiosity is when you abandon this, then I'm assuming you're going to have to put some kind of, or vacate it. I'm sorry. When you vacate this, you're going to have to put some kind of barricade up there, so the at the end of where the funeral home and the 6th Street pub is, so the traffic does not continue to flow through that alley. Is that correct?
Go ahead, Eric.
Yeah, no, we don't do it, but because that becomes private property, the homeowners will be responsible to do anything that they want to do.
And are they aware of that?
I mean, we specifically, don't dictate to them what they do on private property. So
because I understand. Okay, so once it's vacated, it's no longer city property. It's private property.
That's correct.
Right. It becomes half of it becomes part of the lawn on each side, or the property owners. But we had talked about that in our last meeting, and I think we asked a question first about in the spring, summer, removing the curb cut where the alley gets access now. And I think that you had indicated the city can do that, right, during concrete season?
Yeah, and we typically don't do that and take on that expense, going up to private property. So that property and that street and that entrance would probably not be removed until that street gets reconstructed. We wouldn't go in and...
And then, well, the neighbors, the people in the neighborhood, would they be informed by letter or such that it is their responsibility to barricade that alley off if they so choose?
No, just because we don't tell people what to do with their private property.
Okay.
I mean, they're just
they would have to, as a group, decide to close that.
All right, then I will go ahead and make a motion that we accept item D.
Okay.
On the consent of the
motion to approve item D for the preliminary resolution. Is there a second? Second by Neal. Further discussion or questions? Seeing none, members in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None are opposed. That motion carries. I think that's something that we can network with Alder Watson about as well, because if there turns out that there is some kind of a problem there with, access or traffic through or whatever, maybe we can discuss that a little further. But I think once it gets vacated, hopefully the homeowners will make it pretty obvious that it's theirs now, so. But if not, we can talk about that.
Thank you. I just thought it needed to be discussed.
I think so. That's good. And
Thank you,
we'll
Madam
check
Chair.
back with her and see how it's going after this gets done. So, item number 3 is a public hearing for vacating and discontinuing the unpaved alley bounded by Bertha Street, Lakeview Drive, Mount View Boulevard, and Elmwood Boulevard. With that, I will open the public hearing. Is anyone here tonight to address this item? Okay, come on up to the mic, ma'am, and state your name and address for the record and offer us any comment you would like.
Thank you. My name is Christine Schneck, and I live at 2505 Mount View Boulevard. And I have been in that place for about 3.5 years now. And myself and my dog thoroughly enjoy the back alley and are aware of the fact that the public, in fact, do use it for the same purpose, walking their dogs. I have read and reread what you had sent us, and I just have a question more than anything else, which is what benefit is it either way for the homeowners? I mean, if you vacate it, from what I read, you're still going to need to have access down there for what is it, WP, whatever.
Wisconsin Public Service.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. For them. So I understand that on paper we gained 6 feet in the back of our properties along that alleyway, but I'd like you to explain to me what the benefits are either way so that I can relay that to my neighbors as well.
Okay. Alan, did you want to discuss the alley vacation?
Sure. This alley too does have sanitary sewer running down it, and there's a sanitary sewer manhole in there. So, with the easement, we'd be we wouldn't be able to build any structures or anything permanent in that the old alley or the right of way. So, in essence, it would end up looking the same as it does now.
Okay.
So, what advantages is there? I don't know that there's a lot of them, I guess, other than. Because in this case, you wouldn't be able to build permanent structures across that alley. I guess it would be yours to maintain, or, if you want to plant grass or put something back there other than what's back there now, that would be one advantage.
We already take care of it. Each of us mows behind our properties during mowing season, so.
Is the alley currently grass or is it gravel?
It's grass.
It's grass.
Okay, so it's not a drive-through alley today.
No.
No.
Okay, that's the number one benefit when cars are going up and down, like the one we just talked about, the traffic stops, but.
Any other comments for me?
No, not really. I guess in other cases, when people vacate the alley, if there's no utilities back there, they could build right up to it, or they could put a fence there and they could get 6 more feet of yard.
Right.
In this case, because there's sanitary sewer back there, and I'm not sure of other utilities, there may be other utilities back there now too. More alleys are getting more and more utilities with TDS moving in, so.
Yeah, I have seen trucks back there and the guys climb up the poles. So
Yeah, so.
that's behind my house, yeah.
It wouldn't function, in my mind, I can't see that it'll function much differently than it does now. Other than
Okay.
that, if cars were passing through there,
But they're
the
not.
general public, they're not supposed to be. So the police department could be notified and people could, I suppose, be ticketed for being on private property.
Well, and in this case, even foot traffic through there now is essentially then traversing people's yards
Correct.
versus traversing the alley. So
Correct.
foot traffic from the neighboring properties or any properties through there, in theory, should stop once the
Correct.
alley is reverted to private property.
But if we don't mind them walking back there, then that's okay, right?
If everyone agrees on it, yes.
Okay.
It looks like all but one of the homes abutting the alley have signed the petition for it.
Correct.
Okay, okay.
Okay, Thank you very much.
Sure. Any additional comments on this particular item while the public hearing is open? We'll ask 3 times. This will be the 3rd time. Anyone else here to discuss vacating and discontinuing the unpaved alley bounded by Bertha Street, Lakeview Drive, Mount View Boulevard, and Elmwood Boulevard? Additional comment? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. With the public hearing now closed, we'll move to agenda item number 4, which is for the committee to discuss and take action on the vacation of this alley. Committee members, how do you feel about vacating this alley? It looks like 9 of 10 homeowners have requested it. Jim?
With this alley being a utility right-of-way, I was inclined not to vacate it. However, with the signatures from the residents wishing it vacated, I guess I would agree with it then.
That was kind of my feeling too. If they're asking for it to be vacated and they understand that we still have the utility easements so that the utilities can get in, there's really no downside for us either. Tom?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Well, I think that really, given if we do vacate, that I do believe that all residents that abut that alley really are told about the need for utility access and the need to not block the right of way, if you will, the private right of way.
Sure.
Some people might want to park their camper out there because they're thinking, hey, this is my property now, and I can park my camper right there. So I guess whatever their limitations are should be made known to them, so that they, we don't run into like just ill will.
Sure. Okay. Additional committee comment? Go ahead, Lou.
Oh, if there are no additional comments, I'll make a motion to have this passed.
Okay, motion to approve the vacation. Is there a second? Second by Wadinsky. Members in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None are opposed. That item carries. Item number 5 is a public hearing on the creation of Assessors plat for 901 Town Line Road, 1309 Tourney Avenue, 1315 Tourney Avenue, and 1321 Tourney Avenue. And you'll recall a couple meetings ago, we talked about this plat to kind of straighten out some of the lot lines in this area where they were a little strange. With that, I'll open a public hearing. Is anyone in attendance tonight to talk about this particular assessor plat? Come on up and state your name and address for the record and offer us any comment you'd like.
Hi, my name is Danny Wythe. I live at 1309 Tourney Avenue. I'm trying to understand when this change would have happened. I think it was about 8 years ago. I had a permit to redo my garage, and at that time, if this was the current lay, that garage is considered my neighbor's property. It's considered 1315 Tourney Avenue. So within the last couple of years, this changed, and I was wondering how this would have changed without any notification of a previous plat of these properties.
Do you have any background on the lot line changes, Alan? Because with the new plat, the red lines are the new lines, right? Or are they the yellow?
I don't believe there's been any change. I think the lines, where the yellow lines are, is where it always was. Perhaps when you got the building permit, the inspections weren't aware of the lot lines and where they were. We haven't made any changes to them, but this assessor's plat is going to try and, it's going to assess where the current lot line, where people think the lot lines are now and how it fits.
Right.
And everybody agree on it.
The red lines actually had markers in until sidewalk work was done over the years. When I first moved in to that neighborhood, where the red lines are, on my property on both sides, there were stake markers.
Stakes in there? Okay.
Yes, but as concrete work was done, those stakes were removed and never replaced, but they were on what was the red line. So at the time that I got the permit, the assumption was, I don't know how I would have got a permit in 97 to for the addition of my house and then the remodeling of the garage would have been 2015
Sure.
or thereabouts.
And so the new plat, the new lines actually put your garage where it needs to be on your lot, correct? It's-
Correct.
Yep.
Yes. Yeah, the red lines are what were the assumed property lines,
Sure.
and that's where the markers used to be.
I guess what I can say is that the records indicate, and what the county has for property lines are what are indicated in the yellow. So what the assessor's plat would attempt to do is to redefine those lines and put them where they
Right.
essentially should be.
Fix them all?
All property owners would get a chance to review the assessor's plat after the surveyor, makes it. So it'll be a whole process.
Okay.
What this public hearing would do is just give the city surveyor the right to go out there and do the work and present that assessor's plat to the residents on the block.
Okay.
Okay, let's take the rest of the.
Thank you.
Sure, thank you for coming in. There was additional public comment. Come on up, ma'am. State your name and address for the record. And
Ann Tzaski at 1315 Tourney Avenue. And I learned about this when I went to get a permit for replacing the fence in 2015. And I was in the Department for Inspection and Zoning. And I was told to get a surveyor because she wouldn't give me a permit because the fence would have gone into my neighbor's property, which was, according to the yellow lines, go through my house.
yeah, this is a strange situation.
So I learned that I wasn't the only one in the same situation. I appreciated whoever gave me this map, but I don't know if I had it back in 2015. And I guess it would have been useful to know who to go to about a problem like this, because they didn't even know in inspection and zoning who to refer me to other than a surveyor. And I didn't pursue a surveyor because there were 4 other properties involved. I am so grateful that Allen Engineering was able to immediately, once he heard of the problem, know what to do. Oh, this is an assessor plat. And I guess the reason I'm speaking is because, I guess I assume everybody is related. Could inspection and zoning next time maybe, instead of referring a situation like this to a private surveyor, maybe next time say, well, go, or also try, I don't know if engineering was the appropriate place, but try to refer to somebody within the city who might help. That's
Sure.
what I wanted to say.
That makes sense. I mean, good communication. They are 2 separate departments on 2 separate floors, but they certainly work together. So, okay. Thank you for that comment. Any other comment on this particular item? We'll make one last call. Anyone else in the room that's here to talk about discussion and possible action on the creation of assessor's plat for 901 Town Line Road, 1309 Tourney Avenue, 1315 Tourney Avenue, and 1321 Tourney Avenue. Seeing no additional public comment, we'll close the public hearing on this item. And then that brings us to item number 6, which is the committee discussion of this item. Alder Neal, you had a comment? Go ahead.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Sorry, I was jumping in on the hearing
Nope,
and
you're
not
fine.
waiting my proper turn. I'm sure this is just a matter of perspective because of, where the photo was taken from, off to the side. But the north-south yellow line, parallel to Tourney, it looks like it's going through, buildings and whatnot, but it's really falling behind those buildings. Am I right? Because other than, do we have an issue on the north-south lines?
We really don't have an issue on the north-south line. It's
It's perspective?
yes, it's the east-west lines that would run perpendicular to Tourney is where the
Right.
issue is.
Yeah, I'm just saying that it looks like the yellow is cutting right through the roofs of buildings, particularly the one at the far right, the far south, 1321. I'm thinking that line really is falling immediately behind those structures.
Correct.
And that's probably, like I said, perspective because of
Sure.
the angle that this was shot from.
Yep.
And I guess I can speak to a little bit too about the, with this inspections department referring to a surveyor. Typically, if it's an individual lot that's having a property dispute with the fence line between the neighbors, the city does not go out and survey individual lots. So they would have to go hire a surveyor. In a situation like this where the plat appears to be not correct, or where the lines, and there's 4 or 5 lots involved, this is why we're proposing an assessor's plat, just because there's several lots involved. So that's kind of the difference in that.
Well, it is good to fix it for everybody all at once. So, even though the lines were a little unclear before, this should make everybody right. Any additional comment? Is there a motion then to approve the creation of the assessor plat? Motion by Neal, is there a second? Second by Larson. Further discussion? Seeing none, members in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None are opposed. That item is approved. All righty. That brings us to the 2020, item number 7 is 2022 street reconstruction projects. Discuss public hearing results and make recommendation. And so we've got proposed for next year, Bugby from Burrick Avenue to its east termini, 4th Street from McClellan to Scott, and 4th Avenue from Bridge to Knox. And it looks like the minutes of the Board of Public Works are attached here. Alan, did you want to walk us through the results a little bit of the hearing? It didn't look like there was much comment.
No, there wasn't many comments. There was people showed up to, just to see individual questions, but as far as questions with special assessments and the actual footages, there weren't any. The only question came on the, if we're going to install a sidewalk on Bugby. And
Yep.
we are not proposing to install a sidewalk on Bugby.
Well, and I think that makes sense. Ordinarily, I'm an advocate for sidewalk in neighborhoods to make them walkable, but in this particular case, there's very few homes. The water plant is on the north side of the street, and it's a dead-end street, and it just doesn't have, it's really low volume for traffic. I mean, even if the right-of-way is wide enough out there that you can walk alongside, and there's just not conflict between pedestrians, if there are any, and vehicles. Right now, it's decent-sized street for just a few homes. Committee, any other questions about the projects? If not, is there a motion to approve the projects and move them forward? Motion by Larson, is there a second? Second by Wadinsky. Further discussion? Seeing none, members in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None are opposed. That item carries as well. Item number 8 is the 2022 alley paving projects. Discuss public hearing results and make a recommendation. And so the proposed alley is bounded by Cedar Street, Spruce Street, 9th Avenue, and 10th Avenue. And Board of Public Works hearing results are in the minutes there. And does anyone have questions or comments on that alley project at all? It looks like only one person commented, and that person did have some traffic concerns with the way it is today. If there's no comment, is there a motion to approve the alley paving? Motion by Neal, is there a second? Second by Larson. Further discussion? Seeing none, members in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? None are opposed. That motion carries as well. Item number 9 is discussion and possible action on a relocation order for 72nd Avenue for the Business Campus Trail Project. And we've got some information in the packets. TJ prepared this information, but we need this relocation order and a few limited easements for utilities and things along the trail that we're planning out in the business campus. TJ, do you have some comments on that?
Sure. As you guys are aware, we're designing the 72nd Ave trail, and we've previously discussed the need for these temporary easements, and it mostly just for grading purposes because of the offset that we have to have from the right-of-way, or from the roadway. So this is just the process in order for us to start negotiating with the property owners, is to file this relocation order and plat with the clerk.
And they're temporary, just during construction, right?
There are 6 temporary and there's 4 permanent.
Okay.
Where we'll actually have either some stormwater pipe or the trail that will be in this.
Sure, and I see
area.
they get paid for those, a small amount, so,
Correct, and the actual permanent easements that we have is only 435 square feet, so they're very small.
tiny, okay. Committee members, any questions on this item? If not, is there a motion to approve the relocation order? Motion by Neal, is there a second? Second by Wadinsky. Further discussion? Seeing none, members in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? None are opposed, that motion carries. Last item is item number 10, discussion and possible action on amending section 23.06.06, off-street parking and traffic circulation. This actually comes to us from the Plan Commission and the Airport Committee. Alder Larson and I sit on the Airport Committee, and we'd had some discussion about this. When hangar owners are at the airport, engaged in aviation-type activity, they park their vehicles out of the way near the apron of some of the hangars, but those areas aren't paved. And the city has this ordinance that says you can have to park your car on paved area. And so the airport property inside the fence is looking for an exemption from that while people are using their airplanes. I guess, does anyone have questions for Eric on this one? It seemed pretty sensible when we had it in the Airport Committee.
I would move to approve.
Motion by Neal to approve. Is there a second? Second by Larson. Further discussion or questions? Seeing none, members in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None are opposed. That motion carries as well. And that brings us to the end of our agenda. Go ahead, Tom.
Madam Chair, before we adjourn, if it's okay, I just wanted to address something that's not on the agenda, but I'd like to have it looked at for consideration for
Like a
future
future item?
agenda.
Sure.
Yeah. Mr. Richard Leclerc, who is here with us this evening, he lives on Stark Street between 5th and 6th Streets on the east side, not Avenue, but streets. And he had put together a letter and petition regarding the one block of alley between 5th and 6th, and also between Stark and Steuben, parallel to those two. But that has not made it our way yet, and I believe Alan probably needs to have a look at it to check, feasibility and whatnot. But really like to see if this can be added to our agenda, and also because this is a one-way. Mr. Leclerc, could you be able to come up and?
It's a one-way street pair, for sure.
But this is, I think, a request for a one-way alley as well.
Okay.
And is that within our purview?
Well,
Caution that this not go too far since
Right,
it
so
is
we-
not
Okay.
on the agenda.
Okay.
So that was actually what I was going to say, is we're fine with putting it on the agenda if the request is in and it's already in process
Sure.
with the staff. Once they've had a chance to review it, I have no problem putting it on whenever it's ready.
Very
So-
good.
Okay. Go ahead. Alan, do you have anything?
Well, actually, the designation of one-way streets and stop signs was designated to the city engineer, so that doesn't need to come to this
Oh,
committee.
okay.
I just need to respond to Mr. Leclerc and take a look at that. I guess, I don't want to say the non, but one of the reasons it was kind of sitting on my desk is I don't think if a decision is made, we can't put up signs at this time of year anyway with
The ground is
pounding and
frozen,
posting.
so,
I mean,
right.
we could, but it's just more of an effort. So I think that I owe Mr. Leclerc a letter and with a response, and I will get that to you.
It's perfect. And then you wouldn't need to wait for committee action on that
Correct.
anyway. So,
Correct.
yeah, I mean, if
can
it's
look-
something.
Yeah, and I can look at that next week.
Sure. All right. So it sounds good. Since we've delegated that responsibility to you, we'll let you take care of it. If you guys need anything from us, you know where to find us every month, so. All right, with that, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Aye.
Motion to adjourn from Larson, second from Wadinsky. Members in favor?
Aye.
We're out of here. Thank you, everyone.